Campbell, the Toastmaster District 37 Education Chair, and I'd like to welcome you to our District 37 Education Webinar Series. This is one of many recorded webinars that we will be making available to the District 37 website. Tonight's webinar speaker is Chuck Blethen, and he will be speaking on Speechcraft, the #1 way to build membership. Chuck is a distinguished Toastmaster, and in fact, he's almost finished his second DTM. He has one last project to complete. He was the Public Relations Officer for District 37 for a couple of years, and from 2011 to 2012, he was recognized as District 37's Toastmaster of the Year. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chuck Blethen to speak to you on Speechcraft. Chuck?
Well, thank you, Sandy. Well, hello, everybody. I hope you are tuned up for a good program coming up on Speechcraft. As Sandy had mentioned, Speechcraft is the #1 way to build membership across the United States. As the Toastmaster of record for our club, we're getting ready to run another Speechcraft coming up next, I think it's in February. So I did a lot of practical experience in developing this. First thing we need to ask ourselves is, why do we need new members? Well, membership happens to be the #1 problem nationally, and the reason for that is that we have a 40% per year turnover in the average club. So if you're in a club for a year, you can just about guess that 4 out of every 10 people that's there won't be there the following year. So we really need to have these members replaced. Sometimes people stay in the club for 18 months on the average, because that's about how long it takes for you to complete the CC manual. And a lot of Toastmasters just want to get to the level where they can complete their CC manual and feel comfortable standing in front of a group, either in business or church or organization someplace, and be able to speak with some confidence and know that they're going to be transmitting their message properly through their speaking skills. So in any case, we really need to work on replacing members that leave the club for a variety of reasons. When we look back and look at the close-up of the 40% who did drop out of the clubs, we found out that 1% die, 3% move to another area, 9% go to find cheaper speech help someplace, and I sure would like to know where that is, because Toastmasters is one of the least expensive ways to develop your speaking skills. 9% move to another club. 10% are what we call chronically dissatisfied. And this makes it's very difficult to work with some of these people. I've met a few over the years. It makes no difference which club they belong to. They're just going to be unhappy. But the important thing here is 68% of the people who lose out of a club go someplace else because the Toastmaster club is not giving them what they want. And that's sort of sad in a way. But there is a solution to it. If you develop the Distinguished Club program, it's sort of a signal that that club is doing exactly what the club members expect and what they're looking for to get out of the club. So if you go into the Successful Club series, this is a series of slides, and it's a required training for certain advancements within the Toastmasters. I just want to review with you quickly what these slides are to show you where Speechcraft fits into the program overall. Usually when you run this, you'll see finding new members for a club from the Successful Club series, and you'll see things like, why are there 20 members? It's the importance of the charter strength, because that's how many people we need in order to have a good, comfortable group of people to run an educational program. If you've got too few people in a club, you start doubling up on things and you start getting what we call burnout. And burnout is not a good thing to do, because somebody goes to a club meeting and you have to be the counter, you have to be the timer, you have to be one of the other functionaries within the club, and it gets a little bit old after a while. If you've got a full club of 20 members and most of the people show up, there's some actual club meetings when you can go to and sit back and actually do nothing except just observe and watch and really truly enjoy a Toastmaster meeting. I like to be able to do that myself. But the 20 members is important because that's what you need to charter a club. New members provide a number of things for your club. They bring in new ideas, and of course most clubs are always looking for new ideas, as well as new experiences. And with these new experiences that people bring, there's a lot of new information and a source of a lot of new speeches that come out, a lot of new information for you to use and learn from. In addition, it also provides a larger pool of leaders, and certainly with the speaking skills that we've had for years and years and years, the recent couple of years we've been focusing on leadership development in order to make Toastmasters more attractive to some of the large corporate sponsors. And so it does offer a fantastic opportunity for developing leadership. And certainly there's more fun. More revenue, that's another thing that some people always look forward to, because every new member that comes in, you get a few more bucks into the treasury, and that helps you make sure you can deliver the programs that you want on time. So when you get new members in the door, you have to remember that it's our responsibility, not just the president, not just the vice president membership, but each member who belongs to that club. It's our responsibility to get these potential new members in the door. And the way you do this is you talk to friends, relatives, co-workers. You wear your Toastmaster pin every day. I can't overemphasize how important it is that you wear your Toastmaster pin every day. I've been able to get new members into our club just because I've been wearing my Toastmaster pin on my lapel of my jacket, sometimes my shirt. I get in an elevator or sometimes on an escalator or just milling around in a bookstore or in a shop, and somebody will look at the pin and say, well, what is that? It gives you an opportunity to explain Toastmasters and how it can help people. We also display our Toastmasters magazines at work. I usually tear off my address part on my magazine and recycle it through one of the local doctor's offices or some other professional office. Just leave it there with the other stack of magazines with the contact information on there. And we manage to get new members coming off of that particular approach. We also distribute brochures and flyers when we get an opportunity to set up some sort of an open house, or sometimes we'll just do a little exhibit in a busy shopping mall someplace, again, just as an outreach to the general public to let them know what kinds of things that we can do and how to help them. It also helps to display your award ribbons. I know our club now has collected quite a number of award ribbons over the years. Our club has now been in existence. My home club has been in existence now for over 20 years. So we've got a nice looking banner, and we've also got a lot of ribbons to show. And this lets people know, especially the prospective members and guests, that it's an active club and that we actually do things and excel in the kinds of things that we do. Now pay attention to the last item on this slide. Again, this is one of the slides in the Successful Club series that's required to be presented at a club once in a while. The last item down there is conduct the Speechcraft program. Well, the Speechcraft program is one of the really, really important ways of getting new members into your club, sorry. And this is exactly why we put this program on today, to show you how you can meet the requirements to getting into a Speechcraft program. The idea is to convert your guests to members, and again, whenever you come into a club, it's always nice to have somebody greet you at the door. We want to give those guests a welcome packet, and I'll go into the details of that a little bit later. You also want to seat your guests next to somebody who's experienced during the Toastmaster meeting so they can answer questions for them as they go. Also invite your guests to participate in table topics. I would say about 70–80% of the time in our club, guests who come in just want to see what a Toastmasters program is like will volunteer to participate in table topics, and it's a great opportunity for them to speak off the cuff, and we get a chance to learn a little bit about them and see how they do and what level of speaking skills they have. Also, we want to invite the guests to say a few words at the end of the meeting, even if they didn't participate in table topics. And certainly you want to speak with the guest afterwards. That's a very, very important thing to do, to make sure you let them know you appreciate them being there. And certainly you want to ask the guest to come again. What we find is that guests usually show up twice before they actually formally join. So this is the way that you get members in the door. And keep in mind that this is the Successful Club Series slides that's responsible for helping to get new club members. But this little presentation I've just showed you so far is the last slide that you're looking at now for the Successful Club Series. And the point of it is to remember it's your responsibility, that is ours, to help find new members for our club. So you can see in the general proposition that they talk about Speechcraft as one of the things you can do to increase membership. So let's talk about Speechcraft for a second and find out what is Speechcraft and how does it work. Well, after being in Toastmasters for as many years as I have to tell you that Speechcraft is still somewhat of a puzzlement to a lot of our Toastmasters members. We don't really have a good, solid definition of Speechcraft that's understood by everybody in our club, and certainly of the dozens and dozens of clubs that I've visited over the last year, they just really don't know what Speechcraft is. Part of the problem, I think, is it's a misnomer in that it doesn't conjure up exactly the right kind of image that we think it should, but it is an interesting program. The best way to think about Speechcraft is Speechcraft equals new members. It's a program that's been developed and tested thoroughly to help you do a membership drive in your club that will be very, very effective in getting new members into the front door of your club. District 37 has all the prepared cut and paste tools. We call it like having a Speechcraft in a box, if you will, that will help you develop a way to get new members into your club. So let's take a look at how this works. First of all, in the cut and paste, or what we call the cookie cutter program, we have a series of sheets of paper that help you to develop the whole program so that you don't have to start from scratch and build this thing up from the bottom. It's very, very complicated and very difficult to begin this whole project from scratch if you have to develop it on your own. But what we've done is develop a very, very successful program over a lot of years, and this has been tested now in over 100 clubs in 2 different districts, and it is the #1 most successful way to get new club members into your club. So the first sheet you see is the step-by-step instructions on how to construct a successful program. First, you want to get advancement. Running a Speechcraft program qualifies as a high-performance leadership project. So if you have someone in your club who is looking to advance forward to the Advanced Leader Silver, then they will have to use this, or could use this, as their HPL project. So if you're going to be running a Speechcraft, get somebody involved who can also benefit from personally as well as to help the club. Get the PR started early. Can explain to you how important it is that you have a very, very good and very effective public relations program. You have to start with press releases, get your press releases out there, do it frequently, like every week leading up to when you conduct your program. Contact the local newspapers, see if you can get articles or some interviews into there. Also take a look at your magazines and e-zines that you have access to in your local marketplace. We find that most people who are publishing those sort of documents either online or in hard paper format can be very helpful to you. They're always looking for a new angle or a new slant. So be a little creative and help them generate some fun things for you to use to get your public relations going. Also use posters. I've got an idea for a poster here that we've used a little bit. I'll show you that a little bit later. And certainly articles that you can put out focusing on things that your club has done, benefits to the community, certain certifications that members within your club have been able to reach. These all make good information that can go into articles for your club. And certainly word of mouth is probably our #1 way of getting people to come to the Toastmasters meeting. It's the personal touch that seems to be very, very effective in getting this done. And of course we also have the social media, if you're looking at Twitter and such things. I want to just spend a moment talking about the social media terminology, because this is a very, very important aspect of Toastmasters that has been not available, I would say, up until recent years. But in recent years, as younger and younger people have started maturing and getting into places where they have to start to develop their speaking leadership skills, you find that these people use terms and get involved with things like blog, dig, Twello, Twitter, RSS feed, Pingy, feed rinse, Dapper, scrape a feed, pipes, FeedBurner, YouTube, Screencast, Firehose, Meetup, Delicious, Technorati, and so forth, and there's many others. Really have to get involved with this. If you're one of your older members in a club, you need to have somebody who's working on the public relations side that knows how to use the social media to help create the buzz and get the word out about your club and trying to get members into your club. So bone up on that and become familiar with it and learn how to use it, or get somebody in your club that already knows and have them help to feed the information into it to help your club. Just remember that your success in getting prospects in the door entirely is dependent upon your executing a really good public relations program. You can call it a public speaking workshop or a public speaking seminar. Do not call it a Speechcraft, because like I said, even people within Toastmasters don't understand what Speechcraft means, and certainly there's nobody on the street that you're trying to pull into your club as a new member will have a clue on what Speechcraft means. So just don't use that in any of the press releases or articles. Just use something that's simple and easy to understand, like a workshop or a seminar. Here's a press release that has been tested and used quite frequently. This particular one was used not too long ago for my home club here in Asheville. This is the kind of thing that you can use just by doing a cut and paste. This document is available as part of our cookie cutter document series, and you can just do a cut and paste and put your names, your dates, your places, and times and so forth right in the news release and send it out. And it has the basic information that most editors will need to stick it in if they get a chance. It's free publicity if they'll do it, and you have to do it frequently, like I said, at least once a week leading up to your Speechcraft program. Another thing we talked about earlier was the poster. Well, here's a sample of a toaster that we use, and here's how we use this. First of all, this is a cut and paste document. It's a Word document. You can play with the graphics and change that if you don't like the ones that we have here as samples. You can also change certainly the title up there. In this case, is Blue Ridge Toastmasters. It could be, XYZ Toastmasters over in Smallville, wherever you want to put in there. But speaking as a critical skill for your job, that was the name of our workshop, and we call it a public speaking workshop. Now, this particular one was given at a time when we had a lot of people coming in who were trying to find a new job, so we sort of played to that requirement of the marketplace in order to get people in, and it was quite successful. So again, this is a poster, and you can do a cut and paste on it. What we find is very, very effective is if everybody in the club gets 3 of these. You must hand every member of your club 3 of these. One of these gets taped to the inside of your car window. We prefer the right rear side of the car, so that every place that you shop, every place that you go, every place that you park, you're going to be a little tiny rolling billboard for your Speechcraft program. The other 2 get posted at places where each individual club member does his shopping. If he goes to a hairdresser, if she goes to some sort of a beauty salon, if they go to a health club, if they go to an organic food store, wherever it is that you shop, ask these people if they would be kind enough to help you out and put the poster in the window for a little while. And we find that if you're a customer that they know and recognize, they're more than happy to do that. Let me give you a couple of workshop execution tips. These are things that we found that work very, very nicely, and we didn't have in mind exactly at the time we put together the program and started executing it. First of all, we found through feedback from our participants that if you provide a name tag for all of the club members and also the Speechcraft participants, it really, really makes things work much smoother. And the reason is our Speechcraft participants told us that it's very intimidating to walk into a room of 10, 15, 20, 30